was at this moment on the last mission of Ace Combat 7 that Ace Combat fans all across the world went crazy, and new players were like, who is this woman? And now it's time to explain why Kei Nagase is back on a spaceship, but first of all, who is she? Well, Kei Nagase is basically a living meme inside the Ace Combat community. It's the name of a character that appears in Ace Combat 2, Ace Combat 3, Ace Combat 4, Ace Combat 5, Assault Horizon, Ace Combat 3D, Ace Combat Infinity, and also in the novel Icarus in the Sky, and now is back in Ace Combat 7. And you can also see her sister, Reiko Nagase, in the Ridge Racer games. Basically, this is not only a joke inside the Ace Combat games, but also in Bandai Namco as well. Now, the Nagases on this list, they are sometimes different, and sometimes they are the same, they just appear at different times in different games. In this case, the Nagase that appears in Ace Combat 7 is the same one from Ace Combat 5, where she is one of the main characters in the game. Back in Ace Combat 5, which takes place in the year of 2010, therefore 9 years before the events of Ace Combat 7, Kei Nagase belonged to the War Dog Squadron of the Ocean Air Defense Force. Ace Combat veterans already know the story behind the War Dog Squadron, which later became the Rosgray Squadron, but to put it simply to new players, Kei Nagase was a key member of this squadron, which pretty much single-handedly changed the course of the war against Yuktobania and later against the country of Belka. You should be familiar with Belka, right? Because they did nothing wrong. Now, one thing you should know about the Kei Nagase from Ace Combat 5 is that she really loved this book called A Blue Dove for the Princess, which is basically a fairy tale inside the universe of Strangel. And you can check my other video that I made about this book right here and even get it for yourself. It's available for download in multiple languages. This fairy tale talks about the story of the Demon of Rosgray, which is very important in the story of Ace Combat 5, as it becomes the name of the squadron later on. And, she had this passion, very strong passion for this book, and at the same time, she really was someone who believed in peace and world harmony. That's why she was so anti-war, and you get to see that a lot during the game. Another thing you should know is that Nagase absolutely loves space exploration. That's why, she talks so much about the Arkbird, which is basically this spacecraft from the Ocean Federation, and she even talks to Harling. Remember that guy you killed in Mission 4 in Ace Combat 7? The president of Ocean? She meets him on Mission 8 of Ace Combat 5 and proceeds talking about the bridge to space, which later became the space elevator that we see in Ace Combat 7. With that said, I think you get the clear picture that she really enjoyed space exploration, and she was one of Harling's supporters in his goal to promote space exploration while using money from the military budget. Now, to summarize the story of Ace Combat 5, let's just say that you team up with Nagase and some other friends. In the War Dog Squadron, you fight off some Balkan guys that did nothing wrong, that were manipulating the conflict, and at the very last mission of the game, you have to intercept a satellite packed with nukes that is bound to hit the Ocean capital city of Aurid, and you have some pretty nice fireworks at the end. But here is the thing, whenever you have an Ace Combat game, usually the ending has a very mysterious tone. You don't know where the characters go, you don't know what happens to them, and that's kind of the thing that fans have been eagerly waiting to know. What happens to Nagase after Ace Combat 5? And here, we finally have the answer now that she's back to Ace Combat 7, and the details after the events of Ace Combat 5 have been made public from the Ace Combat book Aces at War, which was included in some collector's edition of Ace Combat 7. So the details I'll be talking about here come from the short story from the book called After the Blue Dove, which was written by Sunao Katabuchi, the same writer of Ace Combat 7 and also the writer of Ace Combat 5. So after the Circum-Pacific War, which is the one depicted in Ace Combat 5, Nagase actually became a writer of books. Her first book to be published was A Blue Dove for the Princess. Remember that one that I talked before from Ace Combat 5? As you see in the game, that book actually had some missing pages that Nagase was trying to complete, and after the war she was able to publish this book in a limited, a very small run. Although, I don't know how it works, I guess Strangel doesn't have copyright laws. Despite the small print run, Nagase actually got a letter from a fan of her books. It turns out that this fan was actually an editor of a major publisher who offered to publish her works in this big company. This editor also asked Nagase to make a sequel to A Blue Dove for the Princess, but Nagase replied that she couldn't do it. She had seen too many horrible things during the Circum-Pacific War, and she described herself as a tired dove. Fun fact, during Nagase's career as a writer, she was eventually able to publish 4 books, one of them called The 12 Colors of the Sky. Now, I don't know what that book is about, but that's the name of the book. Coming back to the story, when the editor was trying to persuade Nagase to write a sequel to A Blue Dove for the Princess, the editor insisted for a meeting in person so the editor could talk to Nagase. Nagase said yes to the meeting and she was able to meet this editor. Now, this editor has a very interesting story because she was also involved during the Circum-Pacific War. She had a PR job on the Ocean Army with the unfortunate duty of taking care of the casualties lists from the battlefield and sending the reports back home. Obviously, this is the kind of job no one wants to do, and this editor was able to take it quite well because she didn't know the people that were getting killed. Until the day where she saw the name on the list of her sister's husband. As you can expect, she got traumatized after this incident, and after the war, she went to work on children's books in search of a better tomorrow for the future generations. After meeting in person and sharing their experiences and memories from the Circum-Pacific War, Kei Nagase and the editor became very close friends, and their work relationship continued for a long time. Eventually, the editor invited Nagase to come attend the birthday party of her daughter, who was 1 year old. Now, it is at this birthday party that things get really interesting, because that's where Nagase was able to meet the editor's husband, who was an astronomer. Also at that party was the husband's father, who was quite a famous individual, Jonathan Payek, I hope I pronounced that correctly, who was the man who was working at the Seals Bridge University back in 1994, who was the person who first discovered the Ulysses asteroid that came to hit Stranger in 1999 and caused so many wars and so much destruction and suffering. And now it's time for some dramatic reading. These astronomers continue to monitor the asteroids. At dinner, Nagase casually drops the question, "Have you observed anything interesting lately?" The astronomers remain silent, an uncomfortable silence with the two staring at the flame of the birthday cake. They didn't blink. It was at that moment when Nagase realized why the president of OSEA had invited her to join the Ocean astronaut program. Another asteroid was in collision course with Stranger, a threat that would repeat the tragedy of Ulysses. From my understanding of the book, the discovery of this new asteroid that was bound to hit Stranger was kept secret from the general public. And the Ocean Federation already had a plan in order to avoid another Ulysses disaster, instead of building railguns which were done in the past and generated many wars afterwards. OSEA planned to launch a deep space mission with the goal of intercepting and either changing course or destroying the asteroid on deep space, more notably close to the asteroid belt in the solar system. This mission would be accomplished by a spaceship called Pilgrim 1, which was going to be captained by Kei Nagase herself. This deep space mission was launched on 2012, and after 7 years, Kei Nagase returned to Stranger on November 1st, 2019, after saving the planet one more time. And that is why she is back in Ace Combat 7.
Asteroid belt. I can't tell you how proud I am to be the first to land at this
Wait, what was that transmission?
This is Captain Kei Nagase of the spaceship Pilgrim 1. The ocean of stars in our galaxy is finally within our reach. To the pilot who generously gave this spaceship a place to dock, we are forever grateful. The universe lies ahead of us, waiting to be discovered. And now, at last, we have a gateway to ascend to it, over and over again.
It's all coming together for me. Today was the day, the moment of her return.
I salute the pilot who gave us all a future.
To skies unknown. The path to mankind's vast future remains standing, Granddad.